The Lord of the Manor's role evolved around his oath of loyalty to his immediate superior, usually the king. He would be expected to fight and provide soldiers and arms from his manor when called upon. This was called a feudal system, which is similar to a class system. Imagine a pyramid. The king is at the top, followed by his nobles, knights, the clergy, the merchants, the tradesmen, and at the bottom were the peasants. A lord of the manor was normally appointed by the king as a thank you for his loyal services. It was common for medieval lords to own several manors, and therefore would not necessarily be in residence in the manor house. Though we tend to refer to the lord of the manor as a he, the lordship could equally be passed to a woman. Portslade's first female lord of the manor was Margaret de Burgh in 1226. Apart from collecting rents and taxes from his tenants, the Lord of Portslade had one other perk. It was custom that all items washed up on the beach between Aldrington and Hove belonged to the Lord of Portslade Manor. In 1653, this included an anchor and cable, 2 pieces of canvas and 6 yards of green woolen cloth. The Lord's daily tasks included the most mundane jobs, but before work, they woke at dawn to hear mass and pray before breakfast. They would then handle estate-related affairs such as taxes, rents or other income, and supply inventory and harvest reports to the king. In certain cases, they performed legal functions over their workers and the villagers. They settled complaints and disputes and granted the permission to marry. Medieval lords were active in political discussions for England and participated in the decision-making process. Original court records of Portslade Manor dating back to the 1600s still exist and can be viewed at the Keep in Brighton. As medieval society became more sophisticated, lords and their ladies spent more time on artistic pursuits. They patronised music, paintings and literature. Medieval lords were well versed in fencing and archery, so weapon practice was a regular pastime. Hunting and hawking were also popular, and at this time many deer roamed the Portslade Hills. Medieval lords said their evening prayers and ate their supper in the halls of the manor. After supper, there would sometimes be entertainment. This could be music, acrobatics, minstrels, jesters or dancing. When they retired for the night, the rest of the manor and the village under its wing also went to bed. There was even a class system among the peasants, with serfs well and truly at the foot of the pyramid. A serf was an unfree peasant, similar but superior to slavery. It was a system that tied tenants and their heirs to the lord of the manor for a lifetime. Serfs were denied the freedom of movement or the choice to marry without permission of their lord. In return for the work the serfs did for them, the lords provided military protection, basic shelter and justice. The peasant's life was hard and the work backbreaking. Work duties followed the seasons: ploughing in autumn, sowing in spring, harvesting in August. Work began at dawn, preparing the animals, and it finished at dusk, cleaning them down and putting them back into their stalls. The more fortunate peasants would work within the manor. Their duties included cooking, cleaning, and waiting on the household. This was equally hard work as labouring, but had the benefit of being inside during the winter and swiping the odd piece of food from the kitchen stores. The peasants in the village ate mainly vegetables, plus anything that could be gathered locally, such as nuts, berries, and nettles. They ate brown bread and drank weak homebrewed beer, as that was safer than drinking water, which was often contaminated. They would cook over an open fire situated in the middle of their small hut, which they shared with their animals. The most difficult time for the peasants was in late spring, when food sources were running out and new food not yet grown. A poor harvest would mean that some villagers may starve to death. If starvation didn't kill them, then disease was always waiting in the wings. Illnesses like tuberculosis, sweating sickness, smallpox, dysentery, typhoid, influenza, mumps, and gastroinfections killed on a frequent basis. The average life expectancy of a peasant was just 30 years. Typically, a labourer or farmhand would work 6 days a week, although they were given the odd day off for religious holidays. Peasant leisure time was rough wrestling, shin kicking, and cockerel fighting, all very popular in Tudor times. The ball was almost unnecessary to a medieval version of football, which was basically a fight with the next village.